Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Woman of the Hour. And this is the directorial debut of Anna Kendrick and comes to you on Netflix. Kendrick also plays this woman who's on this dating show back in the 1970s, and it just so happens Rodney Alcala happens to be one of the bachelors, who's also an infamous serial killer. And this film anchors with this situation of this game show setup and also cuts back and forth between him stalking other victims. And this film tries to do a lot for 95 minutes, and it's pretty ambitious in what it's trying to portray. I do feel like there's some things that really do not come together and click in a particularly effective way. But there's a lot to really appreciate about this film as well. First off, Anna Kendrick is so great in the film in her starring performance. There's a moment where she really kind of like hijacks the show and stops using all these very sexist, dumb questions that the game show gives her. Side note, Tony Hale as this disgusting game show host character is absolutely perfect. But Kendrick just has such great, charisma and is able to sell that. Daniel Zavato, who plays our serial killer, he creates such a vibe that is both alluring in ways, but you can also pick up there's a sinister undercurrent in his interactions with these women. And this film starts off with one out in the desert, isolated, and you feel the tension. Him and his camera, something just feels so compelling, but also repulsive at the same time. And that's what really makes that effective. In those scenes, I think Kendrick's able to really build some impressive tension. And there's quite a few scenes like that throughout this film, one in particular walking through a parking lot late at night that builds that tension. And Kendrick does a really great job of capturing that tension. In terms of how the rest of this film plays out, it's actually legitimately fun during the game show parts, which also I do feel like the film kind of struggles cutting back and forth between these really tense and intense interactions in these flashbacks or flash forwards. Also takes you a little while to really understand the bearings of these cuts and nonlinear storytelling. But I feel like there's some tonal issues going back and forth between them. I do feel like this film does a fine job as well of capturing just how little men will listen to women in danger during the course of this story, because there's one particular side character that we follow along on the subplot of nobody taking her seriously when she's like, I see a killer up there and I know what he did to my friend. And this film has a lot to say about our system, our society, and how somebody like Alcala was able to continue to do this. And the stats that they throw up at the end of the film hit hard, because you're just like, Jesus, and he was able to keep doing this and getting left. Like, you could look this up, but he was let out on bail and killed more women and girls. And you're just like, what the shit? Like, seriously? I do feel like this film also captures the costuming, the production design, all of that so perfectly for the time period. And I think the camera work and how this film was shot and the choices that Kendrick makes as a director in working with the cinematographer really brings a lot out of this story. And at the end of the day, this is an imperfect film. It has some very visible flaws and clunkiness to it, but I think the end product winds up being still such an impressive experience that does hit in certain ways. And Kendrick, both behind the camera and especially in front of the camera, shows a lot of promise. But those are my thoughts on Woman of the Year and Woman of the Hour. Thank you. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.